God pulled Abraham out of Mesopotamia so his family wouldn't be swallowed up by a pagan empire. But in the less intimidating land of Canaan, his family was already starting to blend into pagan society. So why would God drag them into an even more intimidating empire like Egypt? To understand what God is doing, we are going to follow this family through 5 distinct stages. We start with their extreme fragility, just 70 people living in pagan Canaan. We'll watch their self-reliance destroy them as they sell their own brother into slavery. We'll endure the escalating darkness as Joseph waits in prison, Israel waits in grief, and the whole family waits in famine. Ultimately, we will see how God uses their deepest despair to forge a life-saving reconciliation. And by the end of this story, you will see exactly why the Egyptian Empire, though pagan and intimidating, was the perfect incubator to nurture such a fragile, growing family of God's chosen people. Israel and his growing family are living in Canaan, a vulnerable strip of land trapped between the massive empires of Mesopotamia and Egypt. His 12 sons are destined to form the 12 tribes of Israel, the promised nation that will one day birth the Savior. At this point, they are a fractured family of just 70 people, already beginning to intermarry with the local Canaanites and adopt their pagan ways. There, Judah saw the daughter of a certain Canaanite whose name was Shua. He married her. If they stay here, the family of Abraham is simply going to blend in and vanish into history. God has to move them. This makes us ask, if they are already being absorbed into a local pagan society, why would God move them to another pagan empire that is larger and far more intimidating? To understand why, we first have to look at just how corrupt these brothers had become. The sons of Israel have adopted a depraved, pagan instinct for control. This depraved self-reliance reaches a boiling point with their father's favorite son, Joseph. When God gives Joseph prophetic dreams, showing his older brothers bowing down to him, the family's depraved instinct for control takes over. Desperate to avoid the prophecy and control their own future, they betray their own brother. So they hated him all the more. They sold Joseph for 20 pieces of silver to the Ishmaelites, who took him to Egypt. By selling their own brother into Egypt, the brothers unknowingly trigger the exact sequence of events that will plunge their entire family into a dark, agonizing season of waiting, a season that will ultimately guarantee the fulfillment of the very dream they tried to destroy. This dark season of waiting will forge a critical characteristic within their hearts, a characteristic that will finally unite this fractured family and transform them into the 12 tribes of Israel. The characteristic this waiting will forge is mutual love for one another. To forge this, God must shatter their self-reliance, the very thing driving their depraved acts. He breaks it down through decades of waiting. Back in Canaan, the brothers hand their father the blood-soaked coat of his favorite son. Israel plunges into a grief so deep he cannot be comforted. For over 20 years, the patriarch of God's chosen family waits in the dark, believing his son is dead and his family is permanently broken. All his sons and all his daughters sought to comfort him, but he refused to be comforted and said, "No, I shall go down to Sheol, to my son, mourning." Thus his father bewailed him. Down in Egypt, Joseph is falsely accused and thrown into a dungeon. When he accurately interprets a dream for Pharaoh's cupbearer, he begs the man to remember him. Instead, Joseph is completely forgotten and met with more waiting. Joseph spends 2 more years in the dungeon before Pharaoh himself has a prophetic dream. The cupbearer finally remembers Joseph, and Joseph is brought up from the dungeon to interpret the dream for the most powerful man on earth. Joseph tells Pharaoh, 7 years of great abundance are now coming throughout the land of Egypt, but 7 years of famine will rise up after them. God will soon bring it about. Therefore, let Pharaoh seek out a discerning and wise man and put him in charge of the land of Egypt. Struck with fear, Pharaoh raises Joseph to his right hand and places him over the grain of Egypt. When the global famine strikes, nations stream to Egypt for food. Back in Canaan, the brothers' violent self-reliance is completely useless against a famine. Stripped of all power, Israel is forced to send his sons to the only place on earth that has food: the dreaded Empire of Egypt. When the brothers see the fulfillment of the prophecy they dreaded, God will provide a profound healing that will restore their love and reunite the family. What will this healing act be? When the starving brothers arrive in Egypt, they unknowingly bow with their faces to the ground before the brother they sold. They do not recognize him, but Joseph recognizes them immediately. He sets a trap to test if their depraved self-reliance is finally broken. He frames their youngest brother Benjamin with a crime to see if the brothers will abandon him to slavery, just like they abandoned Joseph. This time, they do not choose betrayal. Judah steps forward and offers to give his own life, volunteering to become a slave in Benjamin's place so the boy can go free. For how can I go back to my father if the boy is not with me? I fear to see the suffering that would come upon my father. This radical act of sacrificial love proves their depraved self-reliance is finally dead. Seeing that their hearts have truly changed, the emotion of the decades-long waiting breaks Joseph. He clears the room and weeps so loudly that the Egyptians outside can hear him. I am your brother Joseph, whom you sold into Egypt. And now, do not be distressed or angry with yourselves, because you sold me here, for God has sent me before you to preserve life. The brothers are terrified. Their depraved pagan instinct tells them that power is used for revenge and manipulation. Joseph doesn't rule through resentment. Instead, he acts in a way that heals them. He forgives. Even though you intended to do harm to me, God intended it for good, in order to preserve a numerous people, as he is doing today. Joseph's perfected trust produced a radical, forgiving love to completely heal their resentments. Through a miraculous act of grace, the family is reconciled, their self-reliance is dead, their trust in God is established, and they are saved from the famine. Joseph invites his entire family to move to Egypt to survive the famine. Thus, Israel settled in the land of Egypt in the region of Goshen, and they gained possessions in it, and were fruitful, and multiplied exceedingly. This brings us right back to the biggest question of the story. Now that the family is reunited, why would God bring them to stay inside this pagan superpower, if they were assimilating into the pagan land they were living in prior? The secret to their survival lies in exactly what part of Egypt the Israelites settled. Though Goshen was part of the pagan Egyptian empire, it was completely isolated. Because the Egyptians culturally despised foreign shepherds, this region was kept separate. If the family had stayed in Canaan, they would have completely assimilated and vanished into the pagan world. In this humble land of Goshen, God was able to segregate them from pagan influence and protect them within the empire's heavily guarded borders. He used Goshen as an incubator, a protective womb, preserving them while they safely multiplied. In our own lives, God uses the long, dark periods of waiting to shatter our destructive self-reliance, strip us of our harmful control, and purify our trust. In seasons of waiting, He proves that He is providing everything we need for life. But this incubator of Goshen wouldn't stay safe forever. What happens when a new pharaoh rises to power and the protective womb of Egypt turns into a brutal house of slavery? Hit subscribe to join us in the next episode as we enter the Exodus and watch God systematically dismantle every false god of Egypt, proving to the whole world that He alone is the Lord.